The man behind the commentaries that we air often on Uprising, Mumia Jamal, is in dire straits. Jamal, an award-winning journalist and political prisoner, was hospitalized in late March when his blood sugar dangerously spiked. His family complained that Pennsylvania prison authorities did not inform them of his transfer to the medical facility and that they were initially prevented from visiting him. Although he has been released back into the prison population, it remains unclear if Jamal has received the diabetes-related care that he needs. Supporters of the imprisoned journalist were shocked to see new photos of Jamal, who appears to have dramatically aged, lost weight, and turned into a shell of his former self. They are claiming that since the state was unable to execute him, it is attempting a de facto execution through medical neglect. The controversy over his health comes at the same time as a case is being heard in Pennsylvania against a law that Jamal and other prisoners have challenged. A so-called mental anguish law was passed late last year by the state legislature in response to Jamal's recorded commencement address at his alma mater, Goddard College in Vermont. The law allows people to sue for so-called mental anguish caused by the speech of convicts who they consider themselves victims of. Critics say it violates the First Amendment rights of prisoners. My guest is Noelle Hanrahan. She is the director of Prison Radio, who records Jamal's commentaries and distributes them to shows like this one. Welcome to Uprising, Noelle.
I'm glad to be here.
Well, first, let's talk about Jamal's current condition. What is the latest news of his health? Has his family been able to visit him?
They've been limiting family members' visits, and it's been very restricted. He's in the infirmary. He's quite ill. But Mumia is really someone who tries to do as much as he can. And in fact, Mumia Jamal called Prison Radio last night and recorded a new commentary.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about what his medical condition and the treatment that he has received has been like. I mean, we know that medical treatment in prisons is extremely subpar. Is there any evidence that he received poorer medical treatment than his fellow prisoners? Can we know that he was in some way being singled out?
You know, I think that it's important to know that Mumia Jamal is an extraordinary man and often targeted for silencing, like you described in the opening. But he's also just like any other prisoner in the entire United States. He receives the same lack of care, the same substandard care, the same kind of treatment as other people. So I would say that Mumia Jamal is receiving the same treatment as everybody else in SCI Mahanoy, and most likely the Pennsylvania prison system, which means he is not getting adequate care. Mumia had chronic conditions, severe eczema, possibly diabetes or late onset diabetes, possibly some other things, you know, high blood pressure. They were not adequately monitored. He was in the infirmary. He was testing high and abnormal on many levels, and yet he wasn't effectively treated. He wasn't monitored. And he, in fact, had a medical emergency where they had to take him out of the prison in an ambulance to a hospital. Now, as many people know who have family members in prison or who relate to prisons, when you go out of a prison to a hospital, outside hospital in an ambulance, it is a life-threatening emergency.